In this lesson, we will set up controls for the creature's neck and head. Let's say we get started by working on our neck control first. So we'll go ahead and grab our line tool. And from here, we'll go ahead and enable snapping, just pressing the S key. Let's now go ahead and create a rectangle. All right, sweet. So once we manage to do that, we'll go ahead and close our spline. Let's go ahead and right-click to exit the line tool, and we'll also press S to disable snapping. I'd like to also add some thickness to this. Great. Once we do that, we'll now go ahead and quick align this over to our neck. All right, cool stuff. So we could do some cleanup work at this point. Let's go ahead and reset our X form. We'll go ahead and collapse the object down, modify our stack result. Let's make sure that it gets added to our controls layer. We'll also rename it. That's going to be Anim Neck 01. We'll also make sure that it gets recolored. All right, sweet. Now we can start to adjust the shape. Let's go ahead and grab our points. We'll go ahead and hide our model. We'll translate this up. We'll go ahead and scale it down. And I'd almost like to lengthen it just a bit more and then translate it back. And there we have it. Our neck control is in place. Now it should be linked to the thorax. So let's go ahead and take care of that. And then once we manage to do that, well, now it's just a matter of making sure we freeze this down. But let me go ahead and show you something as we start to rotate. If we try to go ahead and Alt-right click and use transform to 0, take a look, we get a warning. This was never frozen, so that's why we want to freeze our transforms. Otherwise, we can't get back to our skin position. It would be extremely difficult to do so. So we're going to close that out and undo to where this was before. Let's now go ahead and freeze it down. There we go. Let's go ahead and hide the creature. We'll go ahead and grab one of our helpers, and we'll go ahead and clone it. You know where we're going with this. We need to control that neck bone now. So we'll rename this to PTDRV Neck 01. And then from there, let's go ahead and Alt-A align to our neck bone. Position, orientation, that looks good. Let's now go ahead and click on OK. We'll make sure to link this to the control object. And then we'll grab the neck bone and apply an orientation constraint. All right, so we'll go ahead and connect to our helper. Let's go ahead and test this out. We'll go ahead and grab our control, move it around. That looks good. Let's bring the creature back, start moving it around. Sweet, our rig is coming together very well. Let's go ahead and Alt-right click and use transform to 0 to pop our control back into the skin pose. All right, sweet. So now it's time to set up our head control. And we can have it kind of wrap around the creature's head, just to make this a bit more interesting. So here's an idea. Let's say we go ahead and create a cube. So go ahead and grab our box tool. We'll have it set to cube, so it's even on all sides. And now let's go ahead and right-click and convert this to an editable poly. So watch this. We can now go to our edge subobject level, and we can grab just a few edges that we would like to keep and convert to a spline. All right, so I've selected the front part of the cube and the top. So now, watch this. We can go ahead and scroll down in our Modify panel until we find Create Shape from Selection. We'll make this linear to keep it at the same state it's currently in. And we'll name this Anim underscore Head 01. So there we go. We have our shape now. Let's go ahead and exit the vertex subobject level, or the edge subobject level for that matter. We'll go ahead and take our cube. We'll go to now delete it. It's no longer needed. We have our control. Let's go ahead and take the control and use Shift-A to align that over to our head bone. Next, let's go ahead and recolor this object. Great. We'll also go ahead and reset its X form and collapse it down. We know it should get stored in our controls layer, so let's go ahead and take care of that. And then we can go to the vertex of object level, go ahead and grab all of our points, bring our creature back, and we could start to reshape this a bit. So we'll go ahead and maybe translate it forward, maybe scale it up a bit more. We can grab these front points, bring them forward, kind of taper them. So we'll scale them in a bit. We'll go ahead and grab our back points and kind of do the same thing here. Just translate those back in the Y and Z plane. Feel free to kind of taper these as well. Great, so our head control is looking really nice. I might go ahead and lower the shape a bit. Maybe grab the center, bring that down a bit as well. There we have it. So we have an interesting looking control. It didn't take much time at all to create. Alrighty, its position is ideal, so the pivot is exactly where we want it to be. Let's say we go ahead and grab one of our helpers here, clone it, rename it. It's going to be PTDRV head 01. Let's use Alt-A to align to our head bone. From there, let's go ahead and make sure that we link to our head control. Let's go ahead and take our head bone and apply our orientation constraint and tie the orientation of that bone to our helper. Alright, sweet. I'll now go ahead and take the head control, make sure it's linked to the neck control, and then we'll go ahead and freeze its transforms. Awesome. So when we go in and start using our head control, take a look. Getting some great results when we go ahead and grab the neck. Excellent stuff. Alright, very fun. I'll go ahead and use transform to 0 to make sure that we bring both back to the skin pose position. And what's nice is that since we have already made sure that their orientation is ideal, I mean, we're going to get some great results when we start to rotate both controls. So we get this type of additive rotation as long as we are not only using gimbal mode, but as long as we also make sure that we're rotating from the pivot point center. Sweet. So there are our controls. Remember, we don't want to forget about locking them down. So we'll go to lock down movement and scale for both. And that finishes up this lesson. So in the next lesson, we can go ahead and work on the mandibles. We could also go ahead and bring our attention to the creature's jaw. And then to finish up our rig, all we really need to do is go ahead and set up our expression to automate the movement of our smaller arms. I think you'll really enjoy that. So we're just about there.